I am here with, I seem to say, always say the greatest, the one, the only, but in this case, it's really actually true. I'm here with Travis Jeffords, and Travis will get into what he does in just a little bit. There's a little hint there because he's like wearing his scrubs today. But maybe you know him from his TikTok channel, his TikTok fame, or maybe you just know him from his super cool Corvette around town. I don't know. But anyways, Travis, normally I'm asking people where they're from originally, but well, I'll go ahead and ask you, but I already know. Where are you from originally?
Jacksonville, here, born and raised.
Awesome. You're local boy. Come on, no one's from Jacksonville.
That's what I hear.
Well, that's amazing. So I can't wait to get your perspective on this area. About how old are you?
Can I say 25? Can I?
Yeah. So you've watched a lot of growth in this area the last 25 years.
And, I'm
You've
40.
seen some changes.
I just turned 43. So
Cool. So man, you've seen some things in this area. Um, just curious, what part of town did you grow up in?
so I grew up in the Arlington area. So the South Side Arlington area.
Where'd you go to high school?
Terry Parker.
Okay. So
Yeah.
like about as local as you can be.
Yeah, that's the meat of the Arlington area.
Did you go away to school?
No, I stayed. I had plans. I had plans to go away. I applied to, a bunch of colleges where I was going to go away and all that. And then at the time, I got a really good job coming out of high schools right before, at the time, what I thought was a really good job. Your idea of money and really good jobs are different when you're 17, 18. And no, I saw the burden that me going away to college and whatnot was going to put on my parents ultimately. And so I was like, you know what, I'll stay in town, live at home, go. We got UNF and at the time FCCJ here in town, perfectly good schools, and I can just save my parents the heartache of me going to UF or FSU or UCF, or kind of those were the big three back in the day.
Well, bless you with a kid right now in private school, art school, out of town. I appreciate your generosity towards your parents.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it worked out.
Yeah, man. Have you ever been outside of Jacksonville?
In what
Like,
sense?
have you
Like live?
traveled? Have you driven outside the city limits? I'm
Um,
messing.
well, yeah, no, I mean, if you ask me, yeah, of course, I've been, outside of Jacksonville. You ask my wife, it wasn't until I met her that I actually left.
Really? That's amazing.
She always jokes I'd never been further south than Sebastian, Florida, and I had never been further north than Atlanta. And I'd only gone to Dallas once, but really not gone west at all until I met her, and then all over the place.
So we've got the real Florida experience here right now. So if you're watching this from out of state and you want to know, then you get to know today. Too bad, man. Too bad we're not live and we can't take live questions.
There you go. Don't let the beard scare you. It's
That's
okay.
that's right. Oh man, I'm thinking about getting. I keep doing this all the time, trying to see if
Gonna
I
do
need
that.
to do the
It's
bald and
free.
beard at some point.
It's freeing. Let it go.
All right, cool. So just really quick, if you don't mind sharing. So now wife and family. Uh, where have you lived since you've gotten married and started having kids? Has it always been Nocatee, or did you live somewhere else before that?
Yeah. So I grew up in Arlington. It was a couple years out of high school when I decided I was going to move out, and then moved out with some friends over the Intercoastal area, San Pablo, Intercoastal West. I had an opportunity to move in with a few friends at a really nice house over there. Took advantage of that. Met my wife shortly after moving in there. We got, pretty serious, but then we didn't actually move in together for 3+ years, something like that. But I moved a little bit more East Arlington area. One of my roommates bought a house, moved in with them. And then from there, when my wife and I got together, moved in together, we went back to the Intercoastal West
Mm.
area. Kind of, she lived in apartments and stuff, Hodges, Kernan. She went to UNF the same way I went to UNF, so she was used to that area. So we went over there. Um, had an apartment over there for a little while, and then when we decided to buy a house, we ended up over the. It was new, fancy area, fresh building, all this sort of stuff, just south of the town center, off of 295 and Gate Parkway, that area.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
kind of east of 295, which at the time I believe it was still called 9A. If I
Okay.
remember correct. So, so east of that, where now it's massive. Now there's houses, apartments, condos. I mean, they got shoot, what's the seven?
Oh,
What's the
Seven Bridges and
no
or
no
no,
Seven
Seven
Pines?
Pines. Seven
Seven Pines.
Pines, E Town, kind of a little south
Yeah,
of the.
exactly. So kind of tucked in between like E Town and Seven Pines is where the OG
Mm.
area is. So I still own the house over there. So we lived there for a while. My son came along. It was too small. So we we were started looking, and in the meantime, we rented a house off of Kernan and Atlantic.
Uh-huh.
So still kind of East Arlington, not quite Intercoastal West. I don't know what that's called these days.
Me neither.
Um, yeah, Atlantic and Kernan. Ashley Malise area. If anybody like
Okay. Yeah, I'll
where
take your word for it.
where Sandalwood High School, all that stuff is. Or actually, no, Sandalwood's a little bit further north or south. Anyways, lived there for a couple years, and in the meantime, decided to look for a bigger house or a house in general to buy. And this was around the 2014, 2015 time frame, and decided we were going to look south. And so really, it was St. Johns County, Bartram, that area, Durbin. At the time was kind of the up and coming, people were moving down this direction. Things were opening up. 295 or 9B had been built, so now you
Mm.
could get to this area from the town center area very easily. You didn't have to take Phillips Highway all the way down, or US 1, all the way down for half an hour. So things were opening up. 210 was opening up. So yeah, that was the area we wanted to go to.
All right, and then so tell me how you wound up in Nocatee. Why'd you pick Nocatee eventually?
You know me, everything's a long story. So 2007, 2008, somewhere through there. If my friends see this, I apologize. I don't remember your wedding date. We went to a wedding in Nocatee. Good friends of mine got married there. And at the time, 9B didn't exist. This was, like I said, 07, 08. And we stayed at the Sawgrass Marriott because it was such a far drive
Mm.
from the Intercoastal West area. It's like, oh my gosh. So you rather had to go all the way down A1A or all the way down Phillips. And so we're like, all right, and the only hotel was Sawgrass Marriott. There's nothing else out here.
Mm.
And at the time, Nocatee had a Publix and like two neighborhoods in the water park area,
Right.
And so when we came out here, we're like, man, like it'd really be really cool to live out here. It looks like they got a good thing kind of started up, but man, this is way out here. There's no way we can't leave our bubble of Intercoastal, West, blah blah blah. Fast forward, 9B's built, all these things are built, and it's like, all right, well, maybe we could live out there. And so we're looking around, and I wanted a fixer upper. I've got multiple rental properties
Mm.
and this and whatnot. And I was like, look, let's do a fixer upper. And then we can stay there 2, 3 years, move out, go buy a forever home or buy a home that will be in for 10 or 15 years. And now we'll have another rental property. And my wife thought otherwise.
So who won?
Yeah, right. Yeah. We live in Nocatee, so that's who won. But we went around to a lot of different places, and it was so crazy. we went to go drive around Nocatee one Saturday, and at the time, Nocatee was half the size it is now. Nothing on 210 existed. It was, you had Durban or Bartram Springs area, and that was pretty much it. And then Nocatee. I think Palencia was getting going.
Mm.
Um, and so we went and drove around Nocatee, and it was a Saturday morning, and it was like a movie set. It was so ridiculous. White picket fences, kids like, or mom, dad pushing the baby with like the golden retriever, and like it just was like this movie set of a Saturday. And my wife and I were like, "Oh my God, this place isn't real. Like this doesn't exist, you know?" And so I'm like, "No, we can't afford it. We can't go down there." Like
Mm.
I was still in grad school. And so it was like, I got 2 more years left. I'm getting poorer every year. Like, I'm working less. Like this is not, we can't spend more money. We need to spend less. And but she's like, no, 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 no. We could. So we keep looking. And then I had friends of mine who were looking too. The ones I lived with back in the day, they text us and they're like, hey, we found the perfect house for you. And we're like, what are you talking about? They're like down in Nocatee. I'm like, no, we were just there last weekend. We like, no, we went this weekend, and we found there's a new area. And we had very strict, if we're gonna move, we're gonna do very certain things. And part of that was cul-de-sac. It was like we wanted to be on a
Cul-de-sac.
cul-de-sac.
I'm on team cul-de-sac all the way.
And our rental house at the time was on a cul-de-sac, and I grew up in kind of a cul-de-sac street. And so that was a big thing for us. We kind of gotten used to living in it and living in cul-de-sac. So they reach out, like, hey, found it. They sent us all the stuff. We look at it, we're like, holy shit, like really? Oh, excuse my language. But man, bleep that out. We were like, that this actually exists in Nocatee. Like we were just used to seeing row houses, and your classic kind of track builder stuff. And so we're like, okay, well, let's go check it out. Next weekend we went, we checked it out, and lo and behold, man, it's like a house, or it's like basically the only house on a cul-de-sac. Everything around it's preserved. It's like all of that. We're like, man, this is perfect. And then we didn't know the builder. The builder doesn't even exist anymore. And but we're like, all right, well, let's see what they've got. We're looking at their floor plans, and it's like, man, we really like their floor plans. Like this is pretty neat. We could probably do this. It was outside our budget, of course, but we're like, hey, let's go talk to them. So we went and talked to him, and we talked to him specifically about the lot. And I wish I had a realtor. Did not have a realtor. I know better now. But which a lot of people don't know, that having a realtor for a new home, that's key. I've
Mm.
learned my lessons. But anyways, I talked to them, and they're like, yeah, that lot's not open. We haven't opened that lot yet. It's not for sale. Blah 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 blah. I was like, well, everything's for sale. Like there's a whatever. And so I offered them more than what the lot premiums were going for, which, to give you an idea, the lot premiums at the time were $6,000.
That's so ridiculous.
I won't even tell you what I paid for the house. But you can look
Oh,
it
I
up.
know. We moved into Nocatee around the same time, I think, and
Yeah, yeah,
not to hijack your story, but it's terrible because I didn't. Well, I had an agent, but we were moving from overseas, and it was just kind of messy. I remember specifically turning down a preserve lot because it was like $9,000 more, $9,000 more than the back-to-back lot that I ended up in, thinking like who cares? Preserve, like having trees behind me. I'm just gonna have another house behind me. No big deal. I could save $9,000. $9,000. I'd probably still be living in the same house in Nocatee if I bought like a cul-de-sac preserve house. Anyways, so that was a foolish decision. Maybe, gosh, 13 years ago now.
yeah. I mean, we live and learn, right? I should have used a real estate agent, but whatever, a realtor. So anyway, long story short, I offered him like double. I offered, I think, 12 grand, something like this. And they're like, well, we got to talk to the higher ups. And we went to lunch, and they called us while we were at lunch, like, so yeah, they accepted. I looked at my wife, I was like, "I think we just bought a house."
It's amazing.
And that's quite literally how it went down. The next thing you know, we're in like the building process, and we spent, 6 months or whatever kind of going through all that, and ended up in a house in Nocatee, and it was just not what I had planned, not what I was thinking. I was kind of against it. Like I didn't want to spend that kind of money at the time, which is peanuts now compared to what they're selling for. But and I wanted to do the fixer upper. I wanted to do all these other things. So we went completely against what I was doing. I wanted to do. But now looking back was a great decision. We've got two kids who are now 12 and 9. My daughter wasn't even born at the time. She came along shortly after moving in. So she doesn't know any better. She just knows the Nocatee lifestyle. She just knows the
Yeah,
bubble.
the mean
Uh,
streets of Nocatee.
yeah, I try to take her to the other side of town every now and then. I'm like, see, like we could be here, but look at the other side of the tracks,
Uh,
Durban. No,
oh, Durban. Yeah, the mean streets of Durban too. Ooh. Are you a jet or a no? What would they be in Nocatee and Durban? Are you
right? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't. No, it's funny. My, it's great. Love it. Family, family neighborhood, all that sort of things. Yeah, like every neighborhood, there's drama, there's things that go on. You get on the social media pages and
Facebook group
HOAs and yeah,
pictures
all
of
that.
dog poop?
I mean, you name it. And then there's going to be the clash of the age gaps.
Okay,
So you got the clash of the 55 and up with the young families. That always happens. There's things, and then you got the e-bike warriors that the kids, the teenagers out there, causing mischief with their electric bikes, and it's just there's things like that, and that happens in all these kind of communities, and you hear about it.
on that note, because I know you have feelings about golf carts and you have probably feelings about e-bikes. So having been, well, still, I think you still go do some work in the ER at, is it Shands?
No, yeah, no, so I don't anymore. I
Okay,
did.
you don't anymore, but you did for a while, and you saw a lot of head injuries from golf carts and things like that. So,
Yeah,
what's your take on golf carts and e-bikes and things like that?
man, we'll go. That's a can of worms. Okay.
We're going viral, baby. We're getting all the hate.
All right. So to clarify kind of what you were saying,
Right.
just for all the nitpick haters out there,
Yeah.
I worked at UF Health or Shands, which is a level 1 trauma center for 10 years. What you're talking about though, I worked for a while at HCA Memorial, so Memorial Hospital on the trauma surgery team.
Mm,
And that's where I saw that's where all the people from Nocatee, St. Johns County, if you're in a trauma, that's where you go.
mm.
And during that period of time, yeah, yeah, a lot. So a lot of bicycle accidents, people not wearing helmets, a lot of golf cart rollovers, a lot of e-bike accidents, kids on e-bikes, sometimes wearing helmets, sometimes not. It was so profound to me at the time that I made a lot of changes on what we do
Mm.
personally. And so some big changes. I don't get on ladders, hardly ever. I don't hang up Christmas lights. I call humbug
Call
holiday lights.
Josh. Yeah. Humbug holiday lights plug.
I just the amount of people I saw seriously injured, gravely injured, from ladders and golf carts was remarkable. And it's not talked about, doesn't hit the news hardly at all, doesn't hit the social media pages. But I would see easily probably a golf cart accident once a month that was with a serious injury.
Mm.
Primarily, what we would see would be drinking and driving on the
Mm.
golf cart. You feel like you're safe. You're only going 15 mile an hour, 20 mile an hour, some up to 30. But the problem is the golf carts are top heavy and the sidewalks are not that wide. And so, you're going upwards of 25 to 30 miles an hour, and it doesn't take much for the wheels to just get off on the side of the sidewalk. And then you're doing one of these. and then you flip over. Most people in the golf carts aren't wearing seatbelts. And so what happens typically is one of the two or a passenger gets thrown, and they get thrown, they hit their head, or they're there and they hit their head on the concrete because it's open,
Mm,
and you end up with a pretty traumatic brain injury typically. Is what we saw the most of. And I saw, ankle fractures and things where it landed on their leg, or
mm,
their foot was outside the golf cart when it rolled over and it crushed their leg or ankle. So I saw plenty of those too, but probably the more devastating ones was where, alcohol was involved. They were going at a high rate of speed, trying to go around a corner or like clip the edge of the sidewalk and then got thrown. I mean, I saw that enough to where I put 3-point harness seatbelts on my golf
mm.
cart, and my golf cart is geared to where it tops out at 25. But man, I got to be on a straightaway with the wind behind me, and and a downhill, to really get there at any decent rate. I mean, it takes a while for me to get there, and
Put both of
sometimes
us in there with our body weights. We'll be
and when I'm loaded down, man, if I'm loaded down with a whole family, and I'm a big dude, my wife's not little, she's 5'10", 5'11". My kids are not little. We made little monsters, and so we're fully weighted down. It takes me a minute to get to 20 mile an hour on a straightaway. But no, I put 3-point harnesses. My kids, they've got all sorts of rules as far as buckling up and staying buckled, and when to unbuckle. My wife and I both, we got all that going on. So we were very specific. When the golf cart I bought has um more of a car suspension,
mm,
so it's not like a easy go that was redone. It
hmm
was specifically made to carry people. I didn't get one that's jacked up, so I kept
uh-huh.
the center of gravity low. Stuff like that, little things, to all because of what I saw, man. And then the kids, the e-bikes, and not wearing helmets, and the amount of kids I drive by that the helmet's not even buckled. It's like just sitting on their head. I'm like, you're so close, like so close to being. It's already there. Buckle it. And so that's just, it can be very devastating. And yeah, I'm guilty. When I was a kid, I didn't wear a helmet. I
We
didn't
did
do it
not wear helmets.
ever. I don't even know that I owned a helmet, but I wasn't going 40 miles an hour on an e-bike either.
Those things can go.
I, when I was going 40 miles an hour, it was on a motorcycle, a dirt bike, and I had a helmet on.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, if there's a motor on it, hey, I gotta put a helmet. But the minute there's it's electric motor, it's like this mentality. Now, with that being said, I don't want to get beat up in the comments when we put this out there. I I see a ton of great kids out there on e-bikes with like full face
Yeah.
motorcycle style helmets. I've seen quite a few kids with oh my god, I'm blanking now. Lacrosse.
Really?
I'm like, I don't know if that's quite the same, but I'm sure the padding's pretty good. But the full black helmet is really popular now, where it's like a motorcycle helmet. Love that. I
Mm.
don't like it when you're walking around Publix wearing it. That's kind of stupid. Don't do that.
I can't wait to put the thumbnail. It says like, because you're wearing scrubs, I'm just gonna say doctor, but uh doctor hates e-bike kids or something like that. Doctor hates your kids on because of
That's fine.
e-bikes.
If it
And
gets
then
clicks, right?
yeah, we'll get it on, and we'll get it on your tag you on TikTok and see if we can generate some hate clicks. Cool. Well, man, that's super helpful though. So if it's got a motor, helmet might be a good idea. And then you're not anti golf cart either, but just just be responsible with it.
And
Because
Nocatee
brain
did.
injuries aren't great, right?
What's that?
Brain injuries aren't the best.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, they suck.
Yeah.
Those are devastating.
Yeah.
Very.
Cool. All right. So, local guy, date night, best restaurant to take your spouse to for date night,
Wow.
or
Um.
one of the best.
So since we're on the Nocatee topic, the question is: are we leaving the bubble, or are we staying in the bubble? That's always our question.
Give me one
Date
of
night,
each.
yeah. So date night when we're going out, it's like, hey, it's like golf cart or car. Like,
Mm,
are we leaving the bubble or are we not? So I would say more recently in the past few years, options have improved in Nocatee. They've started putting in some nice places. These days, date night, it's going to be typically one or two places. It's going to be Catullo's in Nocatee if we're staying in the bubble. Catullo's, which is a small Italian place, locally owned.
delicious.
They got two locations for sure. Started out as a food truck. I don't know if they opened up a third. I don't follow them that closely, but so that's great little spot in the Nocatee Town Center. And then the others is Chop House. Just recently opened up this past year. I like Chop House. I'd gone to Calford Chop House a ton, Chop House 13 a ton. I believe it's the same managers and owners of Chop House
Mm,
13. So the menu and whatnot is similar, but I've been there and the quality is still the same. They've got a rooftop bar, so that's always nice. Personally, my wife makes fun of me when you're in healthcare, when you're in this like provider role, you get spoiled rotten with steakhouses and what. So it's like I've been to every fancy restaurant and every steakhouse like too much. It's like I don't really feel like going again. So we try to seek out like mom and pop, small business, non-franchise type things the best we can. So Catullo's we love for that reason. Oh nice. So no I hadn't. So I loved so they were like a little hidden gem
mm,
back in the day
yeah.
where they're at their old location, which is like 40 feet from the new one, right down the way there. But I went to. I'm not a big wine guy. I don't do well
Uh-huh.
with. I love the taste of wine. It just doesn't love me. I mean, it's actually popped up on one of my allergy things on my gut testing. Um, but I went in there one time and I was blown away. I had no clue. I thought it was just a little wine place, wine store where you can maybe sip some wine. And I was actually, when I went in, I was absolutely blown away. I didn't realize the tapas part of it. I didn't realize the restaurant kind of side
Mm.
that they had at the time back then. And I was very impressed. And then fast forward now they went to the new place. I've not been to the new place yet, but thank you for the reminder. I need to go and
Yeah, and
check.
it might be worth. I think they might. Steve, if you're watching this, make sure you carry some gluten-free beer for my man Travis here.
Well, it's not even it's yeast. It's not even
Oh, yeast.
gluten.
That's right. That's right. I forgot. Yeah.
But then red wine, I can't do red wine either. So but when I went there though, I did do some beer because they have beer options. And so I did beer back in the day, but more recently now I found out that I don't do well with yeast. So beers.
All right. Well, hop on that in a second. But now I'm gonna make you jump out of the bubble.
Bubble. So even outside the bubble, we still tend to stay relatively close by.
Amen.
Like we like kind of the Roscoe Road area.
Mm-hmm.
So
So
you
like Valley
know
Smoke and
exactly Palm Valley Fish.
Barbagenes and
Yeah, Palm Valley Fish Camp and Valley Smoke are probably two of our like more favorite. The ambiance, Valley Smoke has a really good whiskey selection. They do really well on that side. So but either one of those are, if we're going outside the bubble but not traveling far, has kind of always been like our go-to.
have you been V's Pizza over on Canal?
Love V's
Kind of.
Pizza.
So they've got good bourbon whiskey selection over there
Yeah,
as well.
I've sponsored a few things from them. We got some like 2 degrees of separation with some people, and so they do a really big Christmas fundraiser,
Mm,
and they typically rent out a hangar. Oh, not is it Christmas or Super Bowl? Sorry, Super Bowl.
mm.
Super Bowl, they do a big fundraisers, but nonetheless, love V's Pizza, love their style. I can always go there. The Hawaiian crying Hawaiian wings. Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
that and a salad, and then you let the kids go run and be kids because so the one over there, yeah, Roscoe, but then the one closer to St. Augustine, just north of the airport, yeah, love it.
Been there, yeah, but it's like a tiki bar, and then they have like a whole outdoorsy place where kids can run, right?
So they normally all now the newer ones they're building are separate. You've got server oriented where it's like that style, whatever. And they're all called something like Caskin Cannon, I think, is the one over off Roscoe. And then this one is a tiki theme over here, in St. Augustine. But they're always, separate. Yeah, where it's the sit down restaurant versus not. We typically, when we're going, we're bringing the kids, we're sitting outside, we're letting them go be crazy outside, and they're really good about allowing the kids to be crazy outside. So that's cool.
Love it. All right. So I'm looking in the background of your camera there, and I see winner, 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 winner. Uh, didn't you just win something recently, like in the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, yeah. So 2 years in a row. So yeah, no, we're really proud. So for the people, we didn't really get into it. I own a med spa. So we own a functional medicine clinic and med spa. I primarily specialize in hormones and peptides and weight loss and things like that. But we do a lot of aesthetics, a lot of skincare, a lot of gut health, IV infusions. But we really take more of a functional medicine approach. Kind of functional medicine meets traditional healthcare. And so we've won now 2 years in a row, both with Folio Magazine, the Best of Jacks, as well as the Florida Times Union does the Best in Duval series, and so we won 2 years in a row, best of for Med Spa.
Congratulations. What's functional medicine?
So back in the day, when I decided to say that we do functional medicine, it's the idea is to treat the underlying causes, is that's the definition. You're not putting a band-aid on something, and you're treating the underlying causes. In traditional healthcare, we don't really have time. It's very difficult. We try. We talk to you about diet. We talk to you about the lifestyle modifications ultimately that can help fix whatever disease process that's going on or improve your situation. But man, we got 15 minutes, 10 minutes to really nail it down, which it's very difficult to dive too deep into that. And so sometimes it is easier just to, hey, take this med, and I hated that. I hated that idea. It's like, look, I don't mind giving you the medication, but let's spend majority of this time talking about what are the other things that we can do? Like, what are the lifestyle choices that we're making? What can we do? And then what other natural maybe options, right? There's tons of supplements, vitamin supplements and minerals and all the things that tend to get like this quackery kind of viewpoint on that can help. Some of it, don't get me wrong, people get a little cuckoo with, is making some interesting promises, which I don't subject to. But the functional medicine is that, is treating those underlying issues. And so nowadays there's a lot of providers out there that start taking the functional medicine name that are going that quackery, in my opinion, style, and they're doing things and saying things that I disagree with. And so there is some out there that it goes a little further than what I would say it should be. But functional medicine, the idea, you're treating the underlying cause. And so, some examples, if somebody comes to me with a generic complaint of fatigue, right? Good Lord, like it could be anything. And so we tend to kind of look big picture, right? Like, kind of what all's going on. Let's rule out all the big, bad, scary, common things that are associated with fatigue, right? Iron deficiency, hormone deficiency, thyroid dysfunction, whatever, obesity, lifestyle, sleep apnea. Like, I mean, there's real diagnoses out there that cause these issues. But then let's dive a little deeper and let's look at some basics. Like, what are you doing from a supplementation standpoint? What's your gut health look like? What's your gut microbiome look like? And then let's start making changes. Let's make the obvious changes, and let's treat the obvious things first, see how you feel, and then dive deeper, and try to do it in kind of a more natural way if possible. If not possible, because sometimes you need to use traditional medicine, then okay, fine, let's go that route too. And so that's kind of what we do in the
Okay.
functional space.
So you listen.
Yeah,
You listen and you're not crazy. I mean, you tell people they're not crazy.
tell a lot of
That's
women
right.
they're not.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yes.
Um, and then you do a lot of things on the aesthetic side too. So obviously I'm not being treated for Botox, but you do all that kind of stuff?
I do. I am, but I keep a little bit more of a natural look. Yeah, we do a lot of that. You know, your neurotoxins, the Botox, you know, Jeuveau, Xeomin. There's a bunch of brands that we use, and some we prefer, some we don't. So we do that. We do filler, things like that. I'll be honest with you, a lot of people are going more the natural look, natural route. People don't want a frozen face. People want to maintain, you know, this kind of anti-aging thought process without filling themselves up with a bunch of hyaluronic acid or filler
Mm,
and whatnot. And so now we're kind of, you know, just recently this past year bought a new laser, and so a lot of people are going a laser. Pew, pew. Uh, a lot of people are going more the kind of the natural route where they're trying to stimulate collagen production, maintain that tightness of the skin without
mm,
actually using a toxin to keep the muscles from moving. So there's a lot more things in the industry that are going that route that we're seeing and that we work with. And anything I bring in the practice, we always go, okay, how do we look at this from a functional medicine standpoint? What are we treating? And like, what are we doing from an underlying aspect? I mean, the easiest example of that is I was looking at a hydrofacial machine, which a lot of people know about hydrofacial is salt facial and a salt facial machine. And
mm,
the reality of it is, a salt facial machine is more, you know, kind of medically based and treats a lot of underlying issues. Where the hydrofacial though has a great following and a lot of people use it. And a lot of people have great results on regular use as far as like their skin goes, but it's not really treating anything, you know. So I went more the treatment aspect of it versus just the superficial feel good
mm,
aspect of it.
sure.
That's kind of what we do. And so same thing with the laser, went that route with things, because it's I want to stay true to kind of what we do.
That rhymes too, so there you go. So, functional medicine, hormone type stuff for men, I guess, would be like your TRT type stuff. For women, would be like a lot of perimenopause and, trying to tackle some of that sort of thing. Teenagers, I know you've helped my daughter out a little bit with some skin stuff. And so you guys do, what we just said facials, but like skincare and all the things basically, right? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, we have three providers in the office, and we all kind of favor our different things that we enjoy and that we maybe, you know, specialize in a sense of where we're more experts in certain areas versus others. I have an esthetician, like you said, who she specializes in acne treatments
mm,
and facials. She does waxing and she does all the other things as well. But she has her things that she likes that really gets her going. Um, I typically, yes, I personally see men and women. We see men and women all ages. You know, we're all of us are board certified family practice, so we can do the entire spectrum. We don't typically treat under the age of 16 for the most part. There's not a whole lot that we do where it would be appropriate. And a
mm,
lot of times, if you know, if you got a 12-year-old, 13-year-old who's struggling with one thing or another, you know, it starts kind of getting out of our scope of practice, you know, depending on what it is. And so we don't do a ton of that. I do end up treating some younger women when it comes to like PCOS or when it comes to hormonal acne or, you know, something along those lines. Typically, it's like you just said, the daughter of
yep,
somebody that I know. Like it's not just randomly somebody coming in off the street.
mm.
I There's a link there somehow, and a lot of times the people the parents typically have to talk me into it.
Well,
It's
so
I'm not
obviously the parents trust you and they trust your judgment, and so they want to. I mean, that's actually um, it's honoring, right? That they're like, I trust you so much that I want you to see my kids because I want someone I trust.
correct, and that's how I look at it. Right? It's like it's an honor, but then I'm true to myself, and it needs to make we need to make sure that what I, you know, just because you trust me, you know, doesn't mean that I'm appropriate, right, to take care of your child. So it, it it needs to make sense. And a lot of times, by the time somebody is sending me their child, they've seen the endocrinologist, the dermatologist, their OBGYN. They've seen they've gone through it, and they've not been satisfied at all. and not had any good results up to that point. So normally they've already run the gamut. And a lot of times if they haven't, that's my recommendation. Hey, start there, you know, see, and I'll have people I'll send them to, but if they've gone through all of that and I end up being the last resort, then let's dive a little deeper into things.
Cool. So, how people find you? They want to ask you questions. They want to make an appointment. Where do they go? Where are you on the internet or in person or?
What, what's the internet? What do you think? What's social media? Well, is the easy thing is hydromedspa.com. So HYDRO hydro medspa.com. All of our social media has the same tag. So Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all of them. And then you can obviously get a hold of us via the website. There's an easy way where you can key in your information and it'll email us directly to reach out. But yeah, it's pretty, everything's hydromedspa.com at this point.
Awesome. Travis, thank you for sharing your story about Florida and sharing about your business as well. So congratulations again on the two-peat, 2 in a year, best of the best.
I got one more thing for you
Okay.
before we run. So not only am I a Florida born and raised Floridian, so is my father. And so
Okay.
my father is born and raised Floridian. And the other curveball to that is he and I went to the same elementary, junior high, and high school.
No way. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Which is crazy. So not only did we have a two Floridian family, but we also apparently did not get out much.
He must look around though and be like, I remember when this was hunting land. This was all.
Oh, he used to ride his where the Regency Square Mall is now, which is now
Yeah.
kind of falling apart, right? When he was a kid, he used to ride his horse over there through all the like they used to ride at Fort Caroline Road that goes along through Arlington, right along the river there.
Uh-huh.
So Fort Caroline Road, he used to ride his horse up and down Fort Caroline Road,
That's amazing.
which is crazy. Now look at it. There's no way, but
Well, I guess your kids are probably not going to the same school at this point, but well, swing and a miss. Right. Cool.
we're getting a little bougie and picky with the schools these days.
That's right. All right. Hey, thanks, Travis.
Yeah, no worry, Austin. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you having me on.